Welcome to Books. We bring you a variety of audiobook novels, ranging from thrilling suspense to sci-fi adventures. Whether you're commuting, enjoying some leisure time, or winding down before bedtime, Open Books is here to accompany you. In the dimly lit house, the air was thick with tension, each creak of the floorboards echoing like a gunshot. The girl, her heart pounding in her chest, darted from shadow to shadow, desperate to remain unseen. Blood pounded in her ears, drowning out all other sound except the haunting memory of her family's screams. She huddled behind a dusty curtain, her trembling hands clamped over her mouth to stifle her ragged breaths. Through the sliver of light beneath the door, she saw the silhouette of the intruder, a menacing figure cloaked in darkness. Suddenly, the door splintered open with a deafening crack, and the girl's scream pierced the air, a desperate plea for salvation. "Please, no," she cried, her voice cracking with fear as she scrambled backward, her eyes wide with terror. The intruder advanced, his footsteps heavy and purposeful, each step sending shivers down her spine. With a trembling hand, she reached for anything she could use as a weapon, her fingers closing around a small, ornate vase. It was her only chance at survival. "Stay back," she warned, brandishing the vase like a makeshift weapon, her knuckles white with tension. But the intruder paid no heed to her feeble attempts at defense, his eyes gleaming with malice as he closed in on her. With a sudden burst of adrenaline, the girl hurled the vase with all her might, the ceramic shattering against the intruder's chest with a satisfying crunch. But it was not enough to stop him. He lunged forward, his hands closing around her throat like a vice, cutting off her screams as darkness closed in around her. Meanwhile, in the peaceful town below, unaware of the horrors unfolding just a few miles away, life went on as usual. Claire, a weary but determined doctor, tended to her patients with a quiet sense of purpose, her mind far from the chaos that lurked in the shadows. Her son, Adam, trailed behind her like a lost puppy, his youthful energy a stark contrast to her weary demeanor. "Mom, can we go home now?" he whined, tugging at her sleeve impatiently. Claire sighed, casting a weary glance at her son. "Not yet, Adam. We still have a few more patients to see." Adam pouted, kicking at a stray pebble as they walked. "But I'm tired. Can we just go home and relax for once?" Claire chuckled, ruffling his hair affectionately. "You sound like an old man, Adam. Besides, we've talked about this. We're here to help people, remember?" Adam scowled, but begrudgingly nodded his head. I know, but I still don't see why we had to move here. I miss her old home." Claire's smile faltered, a pang of guilt tugging at her heart. She had hoped that moving to a new town would give them a fresh start, a chance to leave their past behind. But as Adam's words hung in the air, she couldn't help but wonder if she had made a mistake. As they continued their rounds, Claire couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in the back of her mind. There was something off about this town, something lurking beneath the surface that she couldn't quite put her finger on. But try as she might, she couldn't ignore the nagging sense of dread that gnawed at her insides. Meanwhile, in a secluded cabin on the outskirts of town, the intruder wiped the blood from his hands with a satisfied smirk. The girl's lifeless body lay at his feet, a grim reminder of the power he held over life and death. But as he basked in the afterglow of his latest kill, a faint noise caught his attention, a whisper of movement from the shadows. He froze, his senses on high alert as he scanned the darkness for any sign of intrusion. But try as he might, he could find no trace of the source of the noise. With a frustrated growl, he dismissed it as his imagination, the paranoia of a man who had spent too long living in the shadows. But little did he know, his actions had set off a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of the town, exposing secrets long buried and tearing apart the fragile peace that had existed for so long. And as Claire and Adam found themselves drawn deeper into the darkness that lurked within the town's shadows, they would soon discover that some secrets were better left buried. In the heart of the town, nestled among rolling hills and meandering streams, lay a quaint little community that seemed untouched by the passage of time. Lush greenery enveloped the landscape, casting a serene tranquility over the picturesque scenery. The sun danced playfully across the rooftops, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold as it sank below the horizon. Amidst this idyllic setting, Dr. Claire Garrison and her son, Adam, found themselves starting anew. The move to the small town had been Claire's attempt to escape the ghosts of their past, to carve out a semblance of normalcy in a world that had been anything but. As they walked down the cobblestone streets, Claire couldn't help but marvel at the simple beauty that surrounded them. The quaint storefronts with their cheerful awnings, the inviting aroma of freshly baked bread wafting from the local bakery, and the friendly faces of the townsfolk as they went about their day. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Claire remarked, a soft smile playing at her lips as she watched Adam skip ahead, his laughter echoing through the streets. Adam nodded eagerly, his eyes wide with wonder as he took in the sights and sounds of their new home. "It's amazing, Mom. I love it here." Claire's heart swelled with relief, grateful for the chance to give her son a fresh start. But beneath the surface, she couldn't shake the nagging sense of unease that lingered in the back of her mind. The recent murder had cast a dark shadow over the town, transforming its once peaceful streets into a breeding ground for fear and suspicion. As they reached their new home, a cozy little cottage nestled on the outskirts of town, Claire couldn't help but feel a sense of apprehension. The walls seemed to close in around her, suffocating her with their silent accusation. But she pushed aside her doubts, determined to make a new life for herself and Adam. Days turned into weeks, and the town slowly began to return to its former state of tranquility. But for Claire, the memories of that fateful night lingered like a dark cloud overhead, casting a pall over her every waking moment. One evening, as Claire sat on the porch watching the sun dip below the horizon, she was startled by a soft voice behind her. "Mom, are you okay?" Adam's concerned voice broke through her reverie, pulling her back to the present. Claire forced a smile, though her heart ached with the weight of her burdens. "I'm fine, Adam. Just lost in thought, that's all." Adam nodded, though the worry still lingered in his eyes. "I miss Dad," he admitted softly, his voice barely above a whisper. Claire's heart clenched at the mention of her late husband, the wounds of his loss still raw and unhealed. But she knew she had to be strong for Adam, to give him the love and support he needed to thrive in their new home. Wrapping an arm around her son, Claire pulled him close, the warmth of his embrace a balm to her wounded soul. "I miss him too, Adam," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the rustling of the evening breeze. "But we'll get through this together, I promise." As the days passed in their new town, Claire noticed a growing distance between herself and Adam. What had once been a close-knit bond now felt strained, the weight of their shared grief pulling them apart. One afternoon, as they sat at the kitchen table, the silence between them was deafening. Claire fidgeted with her coffee cup, unable to meet Adam's gaze as she struggled to find the right words. "Mom, why did we have to move here?" Adam's voice was quiet, but there was an edge to it that made Claire's heart ache. Claire sighed, her shoulders slumping with the weight of her guilt. "I thought it would be good for us, Adam. A fresh start, away from all the pain." Adam's brow furrowed in frustration. But I miss my friends, Mom. And Dad. Why did you have to take me away from everything I know? Claire's heart clenched at the mention of her late husband, the wounds of his loss still raw and painful. I was trying to protect you, Adam, from all the hurt and pain. Adam shook his head, his eyes brimming with tears. But you can't protect me from everything, Mom. Sometimes, I just need you to listen. The words struck Claire like a dagger to the heart, a painful reminder of her own failings as a mother. She had thought that by moving to a new town, she could shield Adam from the pain of their past. But in doing so, she had only succeeded in pushing him further away. As they sat in the silence that stretched between them, Claire realized that she had to find a way to bridge the gap that had formed between them. She had to learn to let go of her own pain and be there for Adam, to listen to his fears and worries without judgment or condemnation. Adam, I'm so sorry, Claire whispered, her voice choked with emotion. I never meant to hurt you. I just wanted to protect you, to keep you safe. Adam looked up at her, his eyes filled with uncertainty. I know, Mom, and I love you. But I just wish you would talk to me, instead of trying to fix everything on your own. Claire reached out, taking Adam's hand in hers. I promise, Adam. From now on, I'll do better. We'll face this together, as a family. As they sat together in the dim light of the kitchen, Claire felt a glimmer of hope stir within her heart. It wouldn't be easy, she knew, but as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything. And as they began to talk and share their fears and hopes for the future, Claire knew that their bond would only grow stronger with time. Clara stood quietly by the lake, a gentle breeze tousling her hair. The water shimmered faintly, but it couldn't mask the doubts swirling in her mind. She gazed out at the lake, her brow furrowing with concern, medical knowledge rapidly turning over in her mind, alerting her to potential dangers. Taking a deep breath, she resolved that this lake could no longer pose a threat to the residents. On this day, she convened the townsfolk for an emergency meeting in the small park. People hurried in, filling the space with chatter. Clara stood at the front, attempting to quiet them. Everyone, there's something I need to tell you. Based on my medical knowledge, there may be pathogens in this lake water posing a threat to our health. I suggest temporarily closing off the lake to protect all of us. Clara's voice was firm, but she knew this wouldn't be an easy decision. Immediately, protests erupted throughout the hall. Close off the lake? Are you joking? Our livelihoods depend on that lake. You can't just do this, an angry fisherman shouted. But if we don't take action, all of our health is at risk. Clara tried to explain, but her voice was drowned out by the protests. As the townsfolk learned of Clara's proposal to close off the lake, debate echoed throughout the town. People gathered in the park, tension mounting. Clara's gaze remained steady, despite the discontent around her. We can't let the lake be closed. It's our livelihood, a sweating fisherman exclaimed, anger evident on his face. Clara took a deep breath, trying to calm emotions. I understand your concerns, but if we don't do something, we may face even greater threats, not just to our livelihoods. How do you know there's a problem with the lake? Another resident questioned, frowning. I'm a doctor. I have professional knowledge. There may be harmful pathogens in the lake that could affect our health, and we need to take precautions, Clara tried to explain. But the debate continued unabated. People expressed worries about their livelihoods, the discussion growing more heated, becoming a clash of ideologies. Clara felt the pressure. She knew this wasn't just a debate about the lake, but a struggle concerning livelihoods, health, and the future. She tried to reconcile everyone, seeking a compromise, but every concession was seen as betrayal by some. After the meeting, the townsfolk dispersed, their mood heavy with discontent. Clara stood in place, feeling the weight of helplessness. She knew this was a dispute that would shape the future of the entire town. In the following days, the atmosphere in the town grew increasingly tense. The divisions among people became more apparent, and Claire felt the pressure mounting. She worked hard to find solutions, communicated with the residents, and attempted to resolve conflicts, but the situation seemed to grow more complex. Ultimately, Claire decided to organize a public debate, giving everyone a chance to voice their thoughts and concerns. During the debate, people expressed their opinions freely, but also began to recognize common ground and interests among each other. In the end, after discussion and compromise, the residents decided to temporarily close off the lake for further testing and investigation to ensure the safety of the water. While this decision was a painful compromise for some, the majority of residents believed it was the best choice to safeguard their health and livelihoods. If you enjoyed today's story, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Your support is the driving force behind our continuous creative journey. Look forward to the next episode, where more exciting stories await you at Open Books. Thank you all for tuning in, and until next time, goodbye.